Oh my god, that's huge! He said he's not gonna grow so big.
He's a long cat. He's very long.
He's so big. I thought he wasn't gonna grow so big because he's not like pure Maine Coon. Is he
he's a
growing?
mix.
But he...
No, he's done.
Okay.
Authenticity is key.
All right.
Okay.
Sige, should I start? What did I say? Like, do I have to be like
No, you
lively,
just
or because I'm
I'm
in my bedroom boy?
You need to, yeah, I think that's the vibe. That's the vibe of the podcast. It's just you being you in your element. You don't have to be super on.
Right.
You just have to be like, hey, everyone, welcome. This is me. You're welcome.
Okay. Sige, I'm gonna start at 3:50, so at 4 minutes, and then I'm gonna cut this out. Okay. Hi everyone. Good day, good evening, good night. Wherever you may be in the world right now. Hello. Welcome to the first and official pilot episode of my podcast. Welcome. This is Saichology. My name is Simon Mamalo. I am from the Philippines. I'm 31 years old. Right now I'm in Davao City. It's the in the southern part of the Philippines. It is 1:42 p.m. where I am. It's the 6th of November. We still don't have the result for Nevada. And Georgia is really close at 99%,
yeah.
49.4% each.
Yeah.
But anyway,
like a 1,200 vote difference. But yeah.
Right. Oh my God. We're probably going to talk about that. I'm sure we're going to be talking about that. But for now, let me introduce what this podcast is first. So this is called Saichology. This is a name coined by my first ever guest here in this podcast. And, well, pretty much this podcast really is kind of like a bucket list that I'm taking off the list, like a list off of my bucket list. I've always wanted to do a podcast because madaldal kasi ako, and I also grew up listening to, I don't know, I like talk shows and things like these. So I've always wanted to do a podcast, and to be really honest, I'm here not because I want listeners. Really, I feel like that's just going to be a consolation, because the reason really is I just want to do this. I just want to have this platform. And if I get to have listeners, that's going to be great. But I'm going to be lying now if I would say that I don't want that, because of course, who doesn't, right? But honestly, to be really honest, I just really want to have like this platform. The fact that I have this is already like, it's already a checklist off of the bucket list. So I'm just glad that I get it.
This is the first step. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, in the Philippines, especially, I think podcast is not really, compared to, of course, the US, is not really very much of a big deal here, not even a thing, because people here don't really like to listen to people talk, especially like if it doesn't concern them, if it's not in their interest, like they wouldn't even bother giving you like a minute, like what more, like how long have I been blabbering? It's like 2 minutes now. They're not even gonna listen to this. So, the for this podcast, really, I'm not here to like tell you to listen to me or like to tell you what to do or what not to do. The reason, or what I really want for this podcast, is really just to have a platform for me and my friends and some of the people that I know, to share, maybe some of the most valuable lessons that they've learned in their life so far. And so yeah, I'm not going to tell you what to do, what not to do. I think that if anything, I would probably tell you to do just whatever the heck you want to do, and maybe learn the lessons from it later on in your life, because that's how I did it. So yeah, that's a lot of introduction already. That's what you're going to be hearing mostly in this podcast. But right now, I'm going to introduce you to my guest, which was so special to me. We've been friends since I was like 17, he was 16 back in 2007. I really think that this person raised me. You did. You did. He was really there for the I think the lowest and the highest points of my ano tawag dito, like the adolescent pa ba yan? Like the young adulthood of my life. And he really did, I would say that he really did raise me. I spent like one of the best moments of my life with him, and the worst. And he really taught me a lot of things. And despite, even if he used to be really bad at staying in touch and communicating, but for some reasons I don't know, we're here. So here is one of my bestest friends. Here's Asil, who was really instrumental for this. He helped me through this. I feel like from startup, like from point one, he named this podcast Saichology, and
this
other
is where
things.
You insert the applause. This is where the audience stops. Insert applause
so
here.
Hi,
First, I want to start with, I don't want you to give me that much credit. We raised each other. We raised each other, really. I mean, we were, what? You were 17, I was 16. I mean, neither of us knew anything about anything. We still don't know anything about anything, and I'm 30 now. So I don't think you should give me that much credit. But very sweet. Yes, we go way, 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 way back. And even though I suck at keeping in touch,
you do
as much as I should be. It's when we pick back up, it's like we pick up where we left off, and it's like time hasn't passed and it doesn't matter. So happy to be here.
Yes, and we're also recording on Zoom, and I just realized that I was on mute the whole time. You were also on mute the whole time. We're only hearing each other because of Anchor, but you're on mute on Zoom, so yeah. Right. So yeah, Asil and I, we've known each other since 2007. We both are alumni of an exchange program to the US. Tell people about yourself, how we met.
Okay, we met because back then I was based in Cagayan de Oro, which is when I took part in the foreign exchange program with AFS, and so and that's when we met, because you were an alumnus. The time we met, actually, we were both alumni when we met. I had just come back from my ride. You were already there for a year, too?
No, actually, no, barely, because you arrived July 2007, and I was there June 2007. So really, one of the first persons that I got to be really friends with in CDO. When we met, because I think we picked you up, or like it was like a dinner for you because you just got back. And then we honestly like hit it off like right away, because you were singing. And it's been like 13 years. So
that's crazy.
What we're going to talk about today, I know that we discussed a lot about where and how we're going to take off in this podcast. But the night before we were initially first set to record, I couldn't sleep. I was so excited. There were so many things that was running through my head, because I was just trying to remember and recall everything that we've gone through. And there were so many things, and maybe share the really significant times of our lives. So the thing that really we're going to talk about and we're going to focus on today are the things that we learn in our 20s. You just recently turned 30, and I turned 31. And so the first question that I want to ask both of us, could you really say that our 20s shape who we become later in life or right now?
Wow, what a way to start the show. So, list, very, okay. Yes. Yeah, sure, absolutely. I mean, your 20s are about making mistakes, making as many mistakes as possible. People say life really, like, your best years are your 30s. What I've been hearing, like, everything for some reason just kind of falls into place. Everything starts to make sense in your 30s.
Right.
You're an actual adult in your 30s. You're still a child in your 20s.
Right.
Which I agree with, because I mean, God, I mean, there's so many memories from my 20s that I feel like I have repressed because I made so many mistakes in my 20s. For example, I mean, I was a raging alcoholic in my 20s.
Like when you got there, when you got to the US?
Well, yeah, sure. Like,
because when you were here, you were you were a raging alcoholic.
I mean, I think I was. I think we were. We were drinking a lot.
Yeah, we were drinking, but I wouldn't really consider. I was really. I've always been a casual drinker, never really in it just to get drunk. But I don't know if you did that later on when you got there.
No. I mean, it stayed the same, but it was just like times 100. Just being a social drinker, but then you're being social all the time.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So you're bound to just be drunk all the time and hungover.
A regular social drinker.
In my later 20s, I finally decided, you know what? It's getting kind of old. And now I go to bed at like midnight and, a respectable time. And I refuse to be hungover these days because my body does not bounce back like it used to when I was in my 20s or my late teens.
Right. With me, definitely where I am right now is because of what happened in my 20s. First off, I didn't graduate on time. You know that.
Same.
Right. And that, because I didn't graduate on time, because of the things that happened before, I didn't graduate on time, of course, because of the things that happened before that. So it's like, a ripple effect. Because I graduated late, I've made the decision to go to law school late, of course, because I couldn't have gone to law school because I wasn't done with my undergrad yet, right? So definitely where I am right now is because of what happened in my 20s. But I think that's kind of given, no? Of course, like where you are right now is because of what happened in your past.
A comment first on this notion that we think that we're supposed to be finished with something at a certain time.
Right, that's good.
There is no rule.
That's true.
This is just,
I know.
This is something that we put on ourselves because of social pressure, peer pressure, our families, culture. We think that because we don't graduate in 4 years, like a traditional, college career is, or is supposed to be, we think we're all of a sudden behind, we're late, we're not where we're supposed to be. But the thing is, there is no other reality. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is it. You are exactly where you need to be in this moment in time. There is no I should be here. I should be doing that. There's no woulda, shoulda, couldas. You're living your one life right now, and sure, maybe there's the multiverse theory. Maybe there is another version of Simon Mamalo somewhere out there in a different universe who did finish school early, who is now an attorney, who is now practicing law. But you're not her. You are here right now. So am I. And this is the one path that we were on. And there's no point in thinking about whether or not we should have finished early, regretting the choices that we made that may make us feel like.
That's true. I totally agree. And you totally got me there. That's true. That was really an insecurity for me. And actually, parang everything naman that happened because I didn't graduate early became like a great source of an insecurity. Honestly, my parents and the people around me had like big expectations.
That's the expectation. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, for me personally, like I was always the student who was always involved. I was winning competitions. I was at, top tier of my class, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So it followed that my parents were actually expecting that I would be like, straight there, like on track, on time. And then it didn't happen. And that that created like a hole, in my, I've always had that insecurity and questioned a lot, like, what did I do wrong? How could, basta alam mo yun, parang, I did, for the longest time, I felt like I was not, or I didn't do what I was supposed to do, that I did something wrong, that I was not on the right track. I failed my parents already. And I failed myself ultimately, or it made me compare myself to my peers, my batch.
That's the problem. The problem is that we compare ourselves with other people, which is really stupid. Because
that's true.
You are your own person.
Exactly.
They are their own people. There's no point in comparing. What is the finish line? The finish line is death.
That's true.
No?
It's funny because
to get to that finish line, enjoy the ride while you get there. Sure we finished late. I graduated from undergrad at 29. Finally. I took the scenic route there. It took a lot of switching majors, dropping classes, just like not being motivated at first, not knowing what I wanted to do with my life.
That's the thing. I don't know. No, I'm just gonna insert it. I feel kasi that you were I really consider you like as a smart, intelligent, IQ, EQ person. And like for people like yourself, parang ang dali mong maboard. Like you can't stick to one thing. And then like if things are so like feeling mo it's easy or what, like you, never mind. And then hindi ka magsettle because it doesn't challenge you.
It doesn't inspire me. It doesn't inspire me. And so then I just don't want to do it. So then I'm not going to try. It's not that I can't do it.
Right. But
I just don't want to.
Exactly.
Because it bores me. So that's what was going on earlier in my life when I first started college. I just did not know what I wanted to do. I was also going through some really like personal struggles about my self-identity. 7 years of not going to school, but 7 years of like starting a new career and working and living life and as an adult in a new country, trying to find my way, added so much perspective that when I did go back to school, it was a breeze. It was just like the way I looked at school was so different from when I looked at it when I was much younger. We're programmed to go to school from this age to this age, and you go to high school, and directly after high school, you go to college. True. After college, you go to grad school. Like in between, where is the life experience coming in? Where are you making these mistakes? Where are you making all the wrong decisions that you're supposed to learn from?
Yeah.
So no regrets, and I don't think you should have any regrets. You should be proud of where you are right now because you're in law school, girl.
Definitely, I don't have regrets anymore. You know what? I don't have regrets anymore. Like, definitely no regrets. That was also the reason why, di ba, kanina I said in my intro that I'm not here to tell you what to do and what not to do. Like, actually just do whatever the hell you want to do because you're going to learn lessons from it. Because that's exactly how we are here today. That's exactly why, I would say we're wise, for our age, because we've been through, compared to a lot of the people our age who have gone through the that path, straight path, of not, college and straight working, whatever. We've definitely learned more. Like
we have more street smarts.
Yeah, like compared to my colleagues and my classmates who did not have the experience that I had, parang they are still like on the very idealistic and very, you know,
Idealistic,
wide-eyed, you know, perception and of the world, while you see it as it is. You know, it's not always what things
It's not
seem to be.
always, you know, roses. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Parang right now, really, parang the problems that come my way because of everything that I went through in college, because I really did go through a lot. I lost my
Yeah.
scholarship. I worked while, so I was in like third year college, so I was probably like 19, 20. I was already working at a call center. Like
You almost sued someone. Wasn't there a lawsuit almost?
oh yeah, because of my
Yeah.
teacher.
Yeah.
I went
Yeah.
through hell in college. You took me in, you know. I lived with you because I didn't have allowance anymore. Of course, my parents couldn't really provide for everything for me, and I didn't tell them even that I lost a scholarship because I was so afraid of disappointing them and them finding out that I, you know, lost my scholarship because I failed chemistry and math 4 times. So of course I was bound to lose my scholarship. But you know, eventually I realized, and this is really one of the greatest realizations that I've had, is that no matter how much you try to make things work out the way you want them to, if they're not meant to work out that way that you wanted them to, it will not. Because there are some other plans for you. Because honestly, I could say that this is with regards to the failure with math.
I was like, what? It was math. It was math.
Exactly. It's so funny right now.
Yeah.
But it was really like a big part of my life because that led me to like losing all the scholarship, and then that led me to like going through all these tumultuous times of my life in college at a very young age. It was like a surge of problems, and I didn't want to disappoint my parents so bad, so I didn't tell them everything that I was going through, and I was going through a lot. But that really taught me that the universe was really telling me something, because I really did it wasn't like I was neglectful, you know, of my studies back then, especially when I failed. And even, you know, I failed PE, diba? Because I AF ako. So like a lot of things really, like I was gonna lose the scholarship. But now that I look back, and now that I tie it, like looking back, I feel like it was meant to really happen that way. Because like for some reasons, like it just slipped, you know, off of my hand. No matter how careful I was with math, no matter how, I have like 0 absences, but somehow like it still slipped. And then eventually I realized that that's really how it was supposed to happen. That was what was meant to happen, because it was really meant to teach me these things, you know, as I moved forward in life. And those times really taught me, it's really the foundation of like the strength that I have right now. Right. And I was like, so this is why I had to go through all of those things in the past, because now that I have this problem and like all the other things that happen in between. Right, exactly. Yeah. Like every time I would go through like a big problem, you know, in my life, I would always look back to those super trying times I had in college, and I would say that it's like parang if I was able to go through those obstacles and hurdles, I would be able to go through this and, you know, overcome this. No matter how much you try to control things, if they are not meant to be, it will not be, you know, because there are other plans for you. And everything has a reason, talaga. Everything has its own reason.
I do think that everything happens the way it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can either choose to find the reason behind it, or you can choose to think that it's all random, little problem.
And then,
because you can, like, you have suffered through worse, and you came out the other side alive and thriving, and you're doing this.
Right. And everything that you went through, all the struggles that you go through in life, it's really meant to teach you something that you're gonna find really valuable in the long run. Yeah. Where were we?
Next topic. Moving on.
Yeah.
We need to light.
We already talked about regrets. We already talked about regrets. That regrets. We shouldn't have regrets.
No regrets. No regrets.
No regrets.
No regrets.
Yeah.
No regrets.
Right. Like, and the things that we could have done differently, probably you wouldn't do any different. No. Would you have done?
Nothing. I would do nothing.
Yeah.
Let me think. One thing I would have done differently is, but of course, hindsight is always 20/20, right?
Right.
It's
right.
really easy to say it now. But one thing I would have done differently is, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I was going to say, you know what I was gonna say? I was gonna say, not if I could have done things differently, I would have not given my ex so much credit. For like when we broke up, because then my only purpose after we broke up was to get him back or to win him over and to like revenge body and
Really? Have you ever told me this? You've never told me this.
No, but nobody ever wants to admit that because it's embarrassing. Right? Because I was dumped, and so again, FYI everyone, I was dumped. My very first boyfriend dumped me.
Of how long?
And I was devastated. 4.5 years.
You were devastated. And because like I told you, you were devastated. You were devastated because that relationship was, you poured everything. Literally, your whole world. You gave it all to him. That when he left. Right.
It was my first relationship. I was very young. I was all in. There was nothing. I didn't leave anything. It was all in.
All in. So like, when it ended, like you had nothing left. You had nothing.
If I could do different things differently, I should not have been so crazy about the breakup, and like I should have.
Well, you were
done
young.
Things for me. I should have done things more for me.
Right.
All that, not for me. It was for him.
Right.
So that he could see that I was doing well, and then maybe then he would want me back, which that never works. That never works, and it's really embarrassing to admit that I did that. But again, no regrets because
no regrets. For me naman, like the only thing talaga that I can remember that I always think that I probably would have wanted to have done differently, which would definitely change everything perhaps, and it's not going to end up the way that it did, that I would have graduated earlier and all those things, all my frustrations was because in college when we had the scholarship, I didn't know that I actually had the option to take my maths during the summer because I always wanted to go home for the summer. So pala, sabi ko,
it probably would have been easier, huh? You probably could have,
oh no.
Been as much of a problem.
Exactly. Kasi kung nag-summer ako, I could have finished it agad, like in the summer, and then tuloy-tuloy lang yung scholarship, tapos tuloy-tuloy yung graduation and all that. But then again, what's meant to happen is meant to happen. If it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be.
Whatever.
And if exactly, we get there, wherever we're supposed to be. Yeah. There's no race really, but it's me talaga. It's up till now, I'm still really coping. Yeah, I'm still really coping with that, but I'm slowly getting into that, vibe and acceptance that I'm gonna have to do it my own time. We're almost wrapping this up. Okay, if you could say anything to your 21-year-old self, your younger self, what would you tell him now?
I would tell him to live within his means and to not spend money like it grows on. Because when I was in my early 20s, I racked up a lot of credit card debt.
Like when you were in the US now?
Yes. A lot of credit card debt. And
are you in debt now?
Which I'm still paying off now.
Really?
And I find just recently, I finally made the decision to actually take charge of my finances and, take the control back. And I've made a lot of progress within the last few months. So I'm like slowly there. I'm almost there. My goal is to be credit card debt free, but
end of the year.
Card debt by the end of this year. Yes.
Yeah.
The mentality of like I had just got my first job.
Right.
I started to make my own money. I was living paycheck to paycheck. I never really had the mentality of saving money for myself. So I would always spend the entire paycheck until the next paycheck.
Oh my God, I still go through that today. That's still me right now.
It is no way to live. It is really no way to live. Let me tell you, Sai, if you can figure out a way to, to set a little bit aside for just yourself before you spend your money elsewhere. And then the tiniest thing, start something small. Whether it's like choosing to, and it doesn't have to be this big conscious decision of saying, okay, every paycheck I need to set aside 10%. No, you don't have to go that.
Did your mom tell you that?
No. Okay. My mom she was always very much, you need to save, but I never really understood it until now. What I was trying to say is it doesn't have to be this big thing. It can be something as small as, you know what, today I'm going to take a cab. I'm going to take the bus. I'm going to take the bus to work.
Oh my God, I'm so guilty. I'm so immature at 31. I know I should, but I don't.
The reason I Ubers was because I used to be like, I was always late. I was always almost late.
Right.
Late to everything. Right. So I'm late. So of course I need an Uber now. I need to be there in 5 minutes. So I need to call an Uber, and that would be like back then it was like $6 a ride, which was okay. Now it's gone up, and now it's like $11 a ride. So, and that adds up. If you're doing that every day, if you're late every day and you're spending $10 a day, that's 5 days. That's $50. $50 a week.
Oh my God, yeah.
That's $200. Yeah. Whereas, okay, you know what, Asil? You need to wake up. If you are always just about 10 minutes, if you're leaving the house 10 minutes before you get there, maybe wake up 15 minutes before.
Oh, mature ka na. Yeah, so proud of you.
Wake up 15 minutes before. It's really these small life decisions that have a big impact on the big picture.
For me, it's not like I really have anything to save on the side also, because I'm not earning a lot. I wouldn't say like it's a job. Well, it's a job, but it's really like also because it's like we have this arrangement because I'm in law school, so like
it's like a paid internship, kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
Your job is like
it's a pay. Yeah, it is a paying internship.
Paid internship, yeah. And that's fine. That's great. At least you're making something.
Pero wala talaga akong savings. I can't save. And
like your savings could literally just mean you not having a coffee today and making it like you don't have a coffee and instead you make the coffee at home. You know what I mean? That's what I mean by saving. It doesn't have to be like I need to set aside this money and put it here. It can literally just mean not doing something that you normally do, and that'll save you. So whether it's 5 pesos or 100 pesos, doesn't matter. It's really, I think the point of saving is knowing where your money goes.
True.
There are people in their 40s and in their 50s who still don't have it down. So, again, there's no race. It's not. The finish line is death.
Right. That's true. No, that's true. My mom, let me just share. My mom, like when I went home this break, during the quarantine, she was like, well, she is really like one of the reasons for like a lot of my anxiety and stuff. Because like she told me, sabi niya, ay, alam mo, nakita ko yung diary mo nung ganito, ganyan. Sabi mo nun, when you were in 4th year high school, you said, 5-10 years from now, I would be driving my own car. I would have a church. Tapos sabi niya, and then my mom said, sabi niya, oh, wala naman ah. Tapos parang, ang sakit. Kasi parang sabi ko, oh my God, bakit natapos na ba? Namatay na ba ako? Am I dead for me not to like have to, be able to achieve that Is this the finish line? Naabot ko na ba ang finish line? Di ba not yet? That's nakaka-frustrate. It's really frustrating. But
You know
my
what?
mom, I love my mom.
Yeah, we love our moms. The next time she says that, you need to ask her the same question and be like, oh, so when you were in fourth year high school, what was your 10-year plan? And were you there in 10 years? Does anyone really get there in 10 years? No. No, but we're all idealistic at that age.
Yeah, exactly. My mother.
Come from money, you know, and you're a trust fund baby, and the world is handed to you on a silver platter, which for most of us, it's not. We have to work to get there. So no regrets.
No regrets. Do you think where you are supposed to be at this age, or like?
Yes.
Yeah. Good for you.
Yes. I do think.
Yeah.
Because trust.
I do think so too.
Stay put, right. And just be happy that you're alive, and that your loved ones are okay, and you're safe, and you're well. Mm-hmm. It's okay. It's okay. Everything will be okay. There's no point in thinking of the what ifs.
Mm-hmm. Am I where I'm supposed to be at 31? I am where I'm supposed to be where I am in the future. But definitely, I never thought that I would still be here at 31. Here I am.
I'm actually really proud of you.
Wait. Oh my god. See ya?
Yeah.
Shit.
Let's think about, what should we talk about next time?
Yeah, what should we talk about next time?
You know what? I'm going to leave it up to the audience. Give us suggestions.
We're going to talk about the elections.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully by then we'll know. It's been 3 days and we still don't know who the winner is. So.
Well, I really hope the recording saves because natatakot ko baka wala namang nakikinig. I hope that you guys picked up something, or I don't know, if you're still here at this point, you're probably...
If you're still here, I'm really sorry for you. Why are you still here?
So yeah, thank you so much, Seal. Let's talk about other things. I hope you can...
Yeah, we're going to talk about funny things next time. We're going to be more lively and less existential.
Yes,
less...
Yes.
Let's be superficial next time.
Yeah.
Superficial... Pop culture.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah, we're definitely doing pop culture next time. Well, thank you so much, guys, for being here, and thank you so much, Asil. Asil is really one of my second half, the second brainchild of this podcast. So thank you so much, Asil. I love you, and I miss you, and take care, and ingat ka always dyan, and good night. I'm going to shower, you're going to sleep, I'm going to work, you're going to go to bed. So, bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Love you, bye-bye.
Love you, bye.